In what order should I buy my equipment for my studio? So this question kind of came from a client of ours who asked me basically. He wants to basically what he's got his monitors and he's got his laptop, and he wants to kind of expand on that. So he wants to go from just a standard laptop, speakers, interface, and wants to kind of build more equipment, be it analog, digital. So he's asked me basically what equipment, where should I start? Where do we start here? So I said, okay, what we want to do is you establish, do you want to come out the box or do you want to stay in the box? I recommended stay in the box, right? Because if you come out the box, you either go big or go home kind of mentality regarding that. I recommended stay in the box for now until there's money there. You'll need, let's say if you go out the box, you'll want to go out the box and start minimum, you're going to want 2,000. Then you're going to want to pretty much instantly put a £4,000 EQ in. You know, it starts adding up, right? So I said basically stay in the box for now, right? So his setup, laptop, 2 speakers, and a Focusrite interface. So I said, right, okay. What you want to be doing is speed up your workflow, get your workflow a little bit more enjoyable. So I said, right, get yourself a nice little door controller. Have a door controller so you've got laptop, door controller, interface, right? So then where he's at is great door control. So start with a door controller. Door controller is brilliant. I recommended going with the SSL UF8 just because I love the UF8 and the UC1 together. They are brilliant. They work really well together. So I said, right, okay, go with the UF8. Get a UF8. So he's going to get a UF8. And I said, basically, after that, what you want to do is it's all about, for now, all the hands-on. Get hands-on, enjoy what you're doing, but you've got instant recall. As soon as you go out the box, you've got the faff of recalling hardware. And if you're a producer, you don't want to be recalling hardware. It's the various different sessions and recalling different things and coming back to it at a later date, and then you've sold that piece of equipment, and that sort of thing in production, it's very difficult. Keep things simple, stay in the box. So now he's got, go with door controller, controls everything, really fun, get hands on with your full mix. UC1, get hands on with your EQ and compression, brilliant. Then I said basically, right, what you want to do after that is you want to go with an upgrade to your interface, right? Then you upgrade to the interface, get a nice interface, get something. I said maybe you could go kind of the more lower end and get something like an Apollo Twin. But the problem with an Apollo Twin is unless you're going to use the hardware, use the chips, you're paying a lot for chips, and then you're getting technically kind of a budgety converters and preamps and all that sort of stuff. But I said maybe, get something a little bit more expensive. You could go with what's a good option, a good affordable option that's a good option. Lynx do some really good stuff. Lynx wouldn't be a bad upgrade. Prism Sound would be good, but these are quite high end. These are really good high end interfaces and converters. Ferrofish do a really nice one, but do you need 32 channels or 16 channels? You maybe only need 2 or 4 channel. So get a new interface, upgrade the interface, then upgrade the speakers. Get some nice speakers. Now, what you've got there is you've got a 100% in the box. You're not come out the box yet, but you are at a top level in the box. So you've got real good speakers, real good interface, real good door control, real good EQ and compression control, right? So you've got everything there. There's no weak link in that chain. So you're in the box. Now's where I consider you as ready to come out the box. So now if you really want to come out the box, by all means come out the box. So now you've got good ADDA converters. You've got good converters, so coming out the box, you're going to convert well, and then you can convert well coming back in. So come out the box. But what you're going to want to come out the box to, what's the first piece of equipment? Now, what I would recommend as the first piece of equipment is kind of like a little bit like a little all-in-one processor that's not necessarily going to be like, it's not going to add some wow factor. It's not going to be like a crazy good compressor or EQ or something that's going to be just mad good. It's going to be very simple, but it's going to be the first thing that now everything kind of chains off of. What I'd recommend there is go with the SSL Fusion. Now, you get the SSL Fusion. The great thing about the SSL Fusion is you've got maybe 5 or 6 different processing tools that are all really good. The best thing about it is you've got mid-side built into it. So now you've got a mid-side button where you can insert if you buy an EQ after. So where I said go next is buy the SSL Fusion. You've got compression, high frequency compressor, you've got a stereo widener, you've got some distortion or saturation, you've got a low and high EQ, mid-side as well. Next thing, throw a compressor in. So you want to look at something, you want to look at a real good EQ, really. Dav do a good EQ, and Muse EQ by Alicia is really good. Handcrafted Labs EQ, that's a really good one. SPL do nice EQs. There's lots and lots of EQs that you could possibly get. What one would I recommend? I don't know, to be honest. I'll tell you what. I would recommend actually something like the Handcrafted Labs, only because the good thing about Handcrafted Labs Thermos EQ, I've got one here and I love it. And I've also got a Maslek MEA2. And the two are very similar. And the good thing about the Thermos EQ is it's £3,000, but it sounds like a £6,000 EQ, which, you know, to anyone, that's great. I would recommend going with the Thermos EQ to start off with, just because it is an affordable EQ that's high-end. So you throw a Thermos EQ in there, right? So you've got some processing, a real nice EQ, and then throw a compressor in. So you could go with something like, you know, an SPL Iron. They're really good and they're affordable. They're 4,000. You've got all sorts of real nice compressors that you could get. The Neve Portico 2 is a really good compressor. Has a lot of other features as well. So you've got Silk Red, Silk Blue. So that could be a real good option. But get yourself a nice compressor. So you've got special processing being in the SSL Fusion, then off to an EQ, then off to a nice compressor. Then what do you really want? Do you want to get a limiter? Do you want to get, no, do you really need anything else? At this stage, I would say they're your 3 things that you want to get. Then come back in the box. Then at that stage, you can do any little digital processing that you need to do. So if you want to kind of DS or something like that, you could throw Soothe on or something like that. A de-esser in and kind of smooth out those harsh frequencies. Your limiting you can do back in the box. Do it with a digital limiter. You know, then maximize your sound, get your sound and your masters there. That's the sort of chain. If I was to go down this route as a kind of a cost-effective way of putting in a real nice nice studio for, let's say, under 20,000, that's going to get you a really top-end kind of high-end sound. Great in-the-box control, everything you need in the box. Great ADDA converters, great monitoring, great mastering chain in the Fusion, a nice EQ like the Thermos, and then something like the SPL Iron, and then back in the box to finalize your master. Now that there is a chain that's probably going to cost you about under 20,000, but that's a top end chain, and that's my honest opinion on where to go in terms of setting up a kind of a studio that's top end. But what you can do from there is, all right, you've spent all that money, but you can add to it because there's no weak links in your chain. You ain't got a really poor ADDA converter. You haven't got poor interface. You haven't got poor speakers. Everything's really good all the way through the chain, and then you're just adding to it. So if you want to get, you could add a better make a DAF limiter and do your limiting out the box. You could do all sorts. You could add the de-esser out of the box. You can add gradually over time, consistently add new equipment. And then, I mean, that was my recommendation to my client who asked me what my recommendations were. So that's what I recommended. And honestly, that's going to get you a really, really good sound, regardless of whether you are a producer, a mastering engineer, or a mixing engineer. You're going to get a good sound on that sort of setup. You really are going to get a good sound.